All right, welcome back to the channel. Another early Saturday morning where we're gonna pick up directly where we left off last week, where I just plumb ran out of time trying to get these Jake brakes on. So we'll see if we can't finish that up today and see what else we can accomplish.
How about it? We got any 18-wheelers out there with ears on? I'll run with you, Wagon Master, if somebody out there is going to back us up.
Now, how about any of you gear jammers out there want to kick some ass and take names later?
So I've always said you can never have enough light. So I was at Princess Auto, my favorite tool store, and they had these shop lights on for half price. So they're only 25 bucks. So what I was thinking of doing is, instead of actually having it as a permanent installation, using it as kind of a shop light, or not a shop light, a trouble light. And I was thinking of just zip tying it somewhere in here. We'll see how bright it is. Yeah, that light worked really well. It's like daylight in here. Okay, so picking up where I left off last week, I've actually looked a little closer, and I need to actually remove these lower risers, because I need to get to these head bolts, these two head bolts and these two here, because those actually hold down the mounts. There's these mounts that the Jake heads sit on. So the only way to get at those is to take off all the bolts and, like I said, get these lower risers out of here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I don't want to leave those risers off any longer than I have to, because now we are very susceptible to getting dirt and junk in the motor. So these are the mounts I was talking about. So we'll just zip these guys off of here. Oh, they're loose. This head must have been off of here at one point. There we go. Okay, so we'll get these mounts put on my engine. Well, thinking about it further, of course this head was off of here because all the valves are missing. So I don't know if Donnie did that or what. Maybe he had to borrow the parts for another engine, but he probably lifted the head off, took all the valves out, and then just kind of hot bolted it. That's why these aren't that tight. Which is cool, because it makes it easy to get all the goodies off of here. So I need to do the same on the front, and then we'll be able to put them on the engine. So I thought what I might do is, because I was starting to get too many parts spread over too many different places, so I kind of made myself a temporary clean workbench to lay out all the parts that are going to go back on the engine. So now I'm just cleaning them up. Obviously the valve covers and risers are pretty dirty and corroded. So what I was thinking of doing with those was maybe taking the gaskets out of there and take them over to the blast cabinet and clean them up. Then they'll take paint real well. So I think we'll do that next. So I found another use for those $25 lights. It's a shame I only bought 2 of them. I better go back there and get some more. Look at that. Okay. Well, that just barely fits in there. Okay. Huh, this thing leaks.
Something terrible. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a mask, that's why. Oh, but it does a decent job. Look at that. Oh, missed a couple spots. Again, it's tough because this is almost the full size of the box, but we'll get it. All right, that's not bad. You know,
A sandblast cabinet's kind of like a lift on a truck. You know, you buy the one you can afford, whether it's 2-inch leveling or a 4-inch lift, and then soon after you drive it around for a bit, you wish you bought a bigger one. Kind of like the same with the sandblast cabinet. This guy was cheap, but for these big parts, I should probably have a bigger cabinet, but it'll do for now. So a friend of mine was telling me that you can't even get this original cat color anymore, Matterhorn white. They don't manufacture it anymore, but I actually went to Finning, my local cat dealer, and they had some cans left over. So we got the official cat Matterhorn white that I'm gonna plan to paint the whole engine in. But once these risers go on there, I thought I'm not gonna be able to reach obviously the back side of them. So I thought, well, might as well give them a spray before we reassemble the engine. Look at that, Matterhorn white. Nice.
So I made a pivot, and I decided to paint the Jake risers black because I thought they would stand off really nice against the white lower risers, the white engine, and then the white valve covers. So I'll just finish giving these guys another coat here, and we'll let everything dry, and then we can hopefully start reassembling the engine.
Another lovely spring day out there, so I thought, why not let some fresh air in. Okay, so next, what I'm working on is trying to get this crankcase breather off of here. So of course it's a steel cup over top of an aluminum riser there, or aluminum flange. And it is seized on there, something fierce. So again, I need some oxyacetylene torches that I don't have, so I'll just keep using my little plumber torch and see if I can heat up the metal. Hopefully the tin or the steel that makes this guy up expands and releases, and I can get this off of here. And then we'll clean this guy up and paint it Matterhorn white as well. Like I always say, steel and aluminum never play nice. All right, maybe I'll try and add a little heat to this guy. Maybe it'll expand it. You don't need to worry about fire. There! Oh. Old rusty junk is awesome. Oh well. At least we fixed it. Okay. We'll clean this up and paint her Matterhorn white.
So I'm trying to make use of the minutes inside the minutes. Good thing I'm not superstitious. And while my air compressor is building back up, I figured I'd give these guys another coat of paint. I gotta get a bigger air compressor. Let that be a lesson to all you guys out there getting your shop set up. Save your money and buy a big air compressor, the biggest one you can afford. You won't regret it.
So now what I'm trying to do is just get rid of all the dust that's kind of near the edge here. We don't want to have any of that go down into the engine. So I'm going to use my little Stanley. And we'll see if we can't get that stuff sucked up. Again, not ideal, but we're doing the best we can with what we got. And don't worry, we're going to do a brand new oil change as soon as we get this thing all back together. Hopefully wash all whatever fell in there out of the engine, because that wouldn't be very good for it. I know, amateur hour. But I thought before I start building everything back up in the risers, I won't be able to get back in there, so I'll put a little Matterhorn white in here while we can, because why not? And again, while I'm waiting for my compressor to fill up, why not give a little coat of a high heat to the exhaust manifold? There, something like that. Man, I must really love my Jake brakes to go through this much trouble just to make some noise. Almost spent 2 Saturdays and I still don't have it done. Well, I promise we're gonna finish it before we finish this episode. Okay, so I'm gonna put the gaskets back in. Now that everything's painted up, I'm still waiting for a little bit of paint to dry, so I'm just trying to do jobs in between so I don't waste the day. And once we get this done, I think we can finally start. Well, I gotta take those 4 head bolts out to put these mounts on and tighten that all down. And then we'll set the bridges, and then we'll put these racks in and torque those bolts in. Yeah, I got a plan. We'll get this. We'll get this. Oh, I should get a little soft mallet to pound that in. Or maybe we can just do it by hand. Okay, just like that. All right. So this bolt and this bolt hold down those supports, and same with these two. So we'll just do these one at a time. I guess I better get the mounts. Oh, put a little oil on there. Oh, plenty of oil on there. Don't need to add any. Maybe just, I'll use a proper torque wrench. Maybe we'll go to like 2 on this thing. I love this Milwaukee so much. Oh, that one's kind of dirty. I might clean up the threads on that guy. And same with that one. I don't know if that's anti-seize on there, but yeah, it looks like old anti-seize. We'll just give that a quick wire wheel and some fresh oil and then put that back. Feel like a Tin Man, his little oil can. Some is good, more is better. Okay. So it calls for 330. Now I'm not going to do it in increments because the head's already torqued down. Obviously the other bolts are holding it in place. So I'm just going to go right to 330 and tighten these guys back up. Now I'm sure there's probably a lot of folks out there that are already typing a comment as to why that's not correct, but I think it'll work just fine. Okay. Hope you ate your Wheaties, Mark, this morning, because you're going to need them. Maybe we will do this in a bit of a iteration. There. Okay. Come on. There. Done. All right, so next is the bridges. Now the exhaust bridges on a non-Jake engine are the same both for the intake and the exhaust, as you can see here. But on a Jake, what happens is when you hit the Jakes, the solenoid is working the exhaust valves to create that back pressure to help slow the engine down. So basically, you're taking the, you're not actually doing a compression stroke. You're opening the valves, and instead of igniting or sending some fuel in there to ignite and then push down on the piston, you're using the engine, it's kind of like a pump. So it's closing the valves at the right time, and that electronic solenoid is controlling that. So we're going to take off the exhaust bridges, and you put on one of these style, oops, like so, and then the solenoid is going to keep hammering that and opening the valves at just the right time to actually absorb as the motor is getting pushed by the truck. As the crankshaft is turning, it's pushing up on those, on the cylinder, and it's using it as a kind of reverse pump to, and that's what makes all the noise, and that's what helps slow you down. So these have a larger platform on the bridge. So we're gonna swap all these out, and I just remembered you're supposed to put a little oil in there. So do something like that, oil the dowel. There. Again, you're just trying to reduce wear when you go to start this thing up before oil starts flowing around. All right, something like that. Okay, so now we're going to set these, obviously, and we'll check these ones as well. And the way to do that is to loosen the nut. I guess we'll loosen them all. Holy cow, someone had those tight. Okay, so now the trick, according to my heavy-duty mechanic friend, is to get these at zero clearance. And he says you just got to do it for a while and you'll get a feel for it. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to push down on it. It's not as obvious as you'd think. I guess you look and see when it starts rising. Okay, somewhere in there, I'd say it's zero contact. Boy, this does take a little bit of practice. Okay, there it just starts rising right there. Okay, so what he said is you want to add 30 degrees. So you make the flat perpendicular to the bridge, and then you just turn it until the next point is pointed at the bridge. So we're just going to give it a little turn like that, and we'll lock it in. And hopefully that's zero clearance. Okay, I'll keep practicing with this and see if I can get these set up correctly. Okay, next come the racks. Ooh. Something like that. Oh, what a lovely evening. And it's so cool to be able to open the shop up and let in some fresh air. The birds are singing. It's almost like I'm working outside again. Okay, it's enough admiring the scenery. Let's get that second rack on there, Mark. So remind me to thank the engineers at CAT who designed this, where a deep socket won't reach the flats. So I've been forced to do this with a little custom tool here, one little 1/16 of a turn at a time. Now for torquing it, I've been doing kind of a amateur hour here for these ones. I got the 330 on the torque wrench for the proper nut there. And then what I've been doing is the box end wrench on a 4-foot snipe, and I just push it, get it as hard as I can, and I figure that's got to be close. Again, not perfect, but just trying to do the best I can with what I have. I actually went to Princess Auto and Greg's and searched all over, even went to CAT and said, is there a special super deep socket that's about 3 inches deep instead of a standard, I don't know, what is that, 2 inches? And just couldn't get one to save my life. So I actually tried to get the right tool. And since nobody seems to sell it, I'm going to be forced to do it a bit of a hillbilly bush fix way. So now, put the fuel lines back on. And this is not going to be an easy task either, because again, there's a special CAT tool. There's a special socket and a special wrench. And I got a quote for them, and one was 150 and one was 250. And I thought, you know what? For, oh, I must go on the other side. For that, I think we'll just try and fumble through and get these tight. Again, the pro mechanics out there are probably just yelling at the screen right now. But like I always say, do the best we can with what we got. And at the end of the day, as long as they're tight, it should be fine. You don't need a fancy CAT wrench. Okay. Now they want 30 foot-pounds, which is just kind of snug. And we don't want to break nothing, so we'll just give them a nice little German tight. Good and tight. I think the next time I buy a truck, I'm going to buy one with Jake's already on. That makes sense to me. What I want to do now is set the valves. So if you recall in the last episode, we were at top dead center on the first cylinder. So what that means is I should be able to adjust the intake on 1, 1, 2, and 4, and the exhaust on 1, 3, and 5. Okay, so I should be able to adjust the intake on 1. And we want to get, what did I just say? 15th thou. So you get your feeler gauges out. There, it's loose. And we'll put our feeler gauge in there. And we wanted to snug it down to where you can still get the feeler gauge in and out. That's nice right there. It should just be some resistance. So that's nice. Okay, what's the next intake? Intake on 2. So yeah, same idea. Well, at least I know how to do this now, so I'll have no trouble setting the valves on little by little. Just had to practice on the Duke. So one of the cheats my friend was telling me is to mark the damper. That way you can crank it around with that tiny little turning tool a little bit at a time. And when I get it close, I just lined it up with the belts. Can't really see, but I lined it up with the belts. I'll get it close, and then I'll know when it's just about time to put the timing bolt in there. Okay. So if you recall from the previous episode, you only get like a couple of clicks at a time. But if I'm looking around to the front here, I can see my mark coming around. So I just need to keep doing this until it gets around to the other side. Man, I'm getting thirsty. Can't quite reach my fridge though. Yeah. Nice. This is thirsty work. Oh, better. Okay, that was a 1 beer job. So I've got the Allen key. I found the hole in the flywheel. Oh, look at that sunset. Oop. And sure enough, our mark's back where it was before. So now I can go on to intake 356 and exhaust 246. Getting closer. Okay, so despite ordering it, I don't think we got it. We got everything but. So what I'm looking for is it in with the paint? No. Oh, that's a bummer. So what I need is these little rubber O-rings that go on the dowel that feeds oil to the Jake head, and they recommend replacing those. And I took a closer look at the ones on the rocker assembly, and they're pretty worn. So I think what we're going to have to do is, unfortunately, not get the Jake heads on. I mean, I guess I could set them on there and show you what it looks like, but that is a bummer. That is a bummer. I'll have to call my buddy at Finning and try and get those O-rings. Man, that sucks. So close. It's always one part that'll get you. But I did promise and I was gonna get the Jakes on in this episode. So, oh man, running out of steam. We are just gonna set them on here just to say we did it. Okay, so yeah, that's the dowel with the little O-ring that we're missing. So we got close, but I guess we'll finish it up next episode. And I did talk to Patrick. He's the cool fan that's sending me the new used turbo. So maybe what we'll do is we'll finish up the Jakes on the next episode. We'll put that turbo on, and then I've got an idea to clean up the rest of the engine and paint it that Matterhorn white. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching, and don't ever forget, if you got it, a trucker brought it.